Okay, you guys, it's me. I'm here. And this is the seventh sign of the apocalypse because actually we've had quite a few things happen as of late. As you know, 2 weeks ago I did a show with Chris Rutowski, and he was such a saint. As towards the end of the show, you could see the lights flickering in the other room, and lo and behold, I tried to get back on, but there was an arcing power line that started the roof and the fence and the neighboring building's roof on fire. So it was very harrowing. And then we've had spotty internet connections. We have a lot of wildfires burning in the area right at the moment. And so things are going to get really interesting here in Salt Lake City, and it's going to be a long, hot summer. I am really happy to have all of you here from everywhere. I have people listening from over in Europe. I have people from South America. I have, friends everywhere, and I really love and appreciate the support. I'm hoping that Chris O'Brien will get on the show because he was scheduled to be here, but I can't get a hold of him. And so we will see what happens. And so if you want to, like the Sparky lady, she is going to be joining us because she is just that cool. I'm so stoked, actually. So I'm going to add her to the stream and just say, thank you. What's up?
Hey, Erica. No, thanks. This was a surprise. I was not expecting to be on your stream at all today.
No, you're so wonderful. And I think to me, it's like really, really cool to actually see people and talk to people that pay attention to the show. And I appreciate you doing that because, people like you are the reason I do this, and I really appreciate it. And so give us the 411. Tell us about yourself.
Okay. So, I'm the Sparky lady, and got into looking into the UFO partly because I love psychology, and you've had Halperin on your show, who completely blew my mind. And I love exploring why people are seeing things, and not from just a technical standpoint, and I'll kind of tell you about some of my background in a minute, but from a psychology standpoint too. I am also in flight training just to be a pilot, just recreationally. And so through that, in fact, today I flew the airplane totally by myself without my instructor for the first time.
Wow. What was that like? Were you freaking? Were you excited? I bet that was an adrenaline rush.
It was really interesting because, I trusted my training. And I will say, though, the first, when I was doing my first takeoff roll and I pulled up off the runway, it was like, oh yeah, this just got real.
That is so cool. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. But through the study of aviation, I've really gotten a chance to look at different weather phenomena. I've had a chance to observe different aircraft through different weather things like haze. And through that experience, I was actually able to explain one of the sightings I had that drew me into researching the topic more. I saw some silver orbs in the distance above my house a little less than a year ago. Then I saw a really similar thing and knew that they were helicopters, and I was observing helicopters through haze. And that's what I had seen at that time. And so it really has given me an opportunity to, look at things, stand back and look at things. I'm open to the idea that there are, potentially, other beings visiting. I mean, that can't necessarily be ruled out, but there's a value in stepping back, taking a breath, what's logical, reasonable, and rational, and going from there, which is what you do on your show all the time. And I have the hugest respect for you, Erica, because you've gone from a place of a lot of, from believing many things to also being logical, reasonable, and rational about things. And that's what drew me to you.
Thank you. That's really nice to hear, because I'm telling you, I've had so much fun on Twitter the past 24 hours. I'm like, it's nice to know that there are people there, and like looking at everybody in chat. Like I said, you guys are the reason I'm here. And I've been very open about being the true believer, and then having things happen and happen and happen again, and having kind of that veil lifted away from my eyes, which actually sometimes it would have been better if it just would have stayed over, because it's been pretty uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, it's like you're trying to learn what is a genuine, something that is truly phenomenal, and then what is something mundane. And I think a lot of us, when we do make observations in the sky, and I've done that when I got back into like 2013, I would see things and I wouldn't have the skill set or the knowledge to say, wait a minute, okay, I'm going to watch this, and then watch the skies every night and see that maybe these are helicopters that appear like golden orbs over the horizons, or different things like that. And I think studying aviation is really cool, and that does give you a completely different perspective. And so, to get us, okay, let's get more background on you. So tell us about your life. What else?
So, yeah, where to start? I've really enjoyed my life. So, no, not been easy, but I graduated high school and I moved to Sweden and lived there for a little while. I speak Swedish, so I studied exercise science and massage therapy, and I did that for a little bit. After that, sorry for the noise. I got over it as far as massage therapy. I worked for physical therapists, but I just was like, I'm done touching people. So I became an electrician after that.
Wow.
That's why my name is the Sparky Lady, because I am the Sparky Lady. So I served a 5-year apprenticeship to be a commercial industrial electrician, and after I finished that, I became involved in the codes and standards making process, and I am a project manager for my company now, but I help do electrical codes and standards. It's been a really cool thing to do that. So I have kind of a technical background in electricity. And then, gosh, I have a myriad hobbies. I've studied a lot of languages just for the sake of learning about them. And then aviation has really kind of become my latest great love in my life.
Wow. How fun is that? So so you like the UFO topic. I mean, what are some of your favorite, who are some of your favorite people, and what are some books that you like to read?
Okay, so right now I'm reading a couple books on the topic. I really enjoy Jack Brewer's take on things. I've learned a lot from him about just kind of the manipulations that have happened in the topic, manipulations and abuses on people that really don't deserve such a thing, who have had some experiences, but who really needed to explore them in ways that were, again, logical, reasonable, and rational. So that's been a really eye-opening thing to read his book, The Grays Have Been Framed. And then we just started reading Intimate Alien by David Halperin. Yep. And that's been really interesting too, because psychology, to me, it underpins so much of our experience of life. And just to see his take on how Freud and Jung and those principles are applied to the UFO topic is really interesting. And I'm not here to say that every UFO sighting is coming from your mind. I'm definitely not here to say that. I mean, Fravor saw something that seemed to be nuts and bolts. Others have, and just like me, I've seen the orbs. That was nuts and bolts. And sure enough, yes, I was able to kind of prove that it was helicopters seen through haze. But people are seeing things, but how does the mind interpret that? Right. How does our experience in society interpret that? That is all really fascinating to me, and I have no answers, and I feel like I don't have enough knowledge to even make an opinion on it. I respect experiencers and what they've gone through tremendously, and I would never go as never say that anyone is bonkers for their experiences. It's just an exploration I'm making to make a determination for myself on what might be going on.
That is so cool. And that is honestly the most down to earth and awesome thing I've heard in a long time. I mean, it's just so refreshing, because I think sometimes, for me, I get on social media, specifically Twitter, and it's like, you just look at people and you go, wow, you guys are bonkers, I mean, just cat fighting like little cats in a cat box, litter box, and using social media for bullying other people. And it's like there is something genuine to explore. And how
Yep.
do we weed through all of this and put it in a box and say, okay, done with that, and then genuinely study something that is really fascinating. And
Yeah.
I think, David Halperin was a wonderful example of looking at that psychology aspect of things, and the Freud and Jung thing is just really, really cool. But then also, like you said, the nuts and bolts of everything. And I always refer to NARCAP because I think NARCAP has done some really great technical
I
work.
love NARCAP. Oh my
Yay,
gosh.
cool. Yeah,
Yes.
Ted will be super stoked about that. He's done some great work over the years, and so like, I mean, so what were you in your teenage years? What were you like? What did you like to study?
Oh man, what did I not like to study? I'm one of these people that is just had a lot of interests. In my teenage years, I was very involved in the music scene, and as far as music scene, I mean, I was like high school band music scene. I was really into music, classically trained flutist, played for 10 years. I played the fiddle and bass too, so I did a lot of music. Man. I just, sometimes, Erica, I'm just like, how am I still the same human being from then to now? Because I'm so technical now, and I'm so, I'm so focused now.
Wow.
But lots of arts, lots of arts. I was always really enthralled by literature, and I've done so much technical reading for work and for aviation that I've kind of lost it with the literature a bit. But I've read some fiction recently. Painting, I mean, I do some watercolor painting, and I have for a long time. So
You gotta show
I
me.
was very artistic child and teenager. Learned to read really early, and I was always with my head in a book. You know,
Well, you should come to
very,
my place because I've got about
yeah,
2,000 of them.
yeah. No, I'll come visit you anytime, man. But
That'd be
yeah,
fun.
I mean, just I've always my personality. I've always been just introverted. I find I recharge when I'm alone, and some people recharge when they're with people. So just
Yeah.
kind of learning that about myself.
It's funny because the older I get, the more I'm kind of finding myself going to that, inward reflection type of thing. And I know that I need to break out of it, but I think COVID's been interesting for all of us for multiple reasons. But yeah, it's crazy. But I just want to say, everybody in chat, thank you for tuning in. And I'm so sorry that I wasn't here on Friday, but you guys are troopers, and you're here tonight, and I love you guys. And I also want to say, if you go to ufoclassified.com, you can support the show. And I appreciate all of my Patreons who help keep the show on the air. You guys are wonderful. I love my archive. You guys know this. I talk about this all the time. I'm so sorry. I'm like sitting right over there are like all the Rex Heflin files. And that was such a controversial case, and probably some of the most famous UFO photos of all time. And I've been archiving those. And so soon you will all get to have the privilege to see this. It's so rad. I love it. I'm a goober, but that's okay. I like being a nerd. It's good. So I have to, Shadowy Spectrums, Peter's asking me a question, and I want to thank him too for being there and putting the link on social media. He is really fantastic. But we were having Chris O'Brien on tonight, and maybe he'll still show up. Who knows? If not, we're just going to have fun anyway. But we were going to talk about cattle mutilations, and I think that's a really interesting topic. I have not heard that we've had any cattle mutilations here for quite some time. And if we did, I'm not sure if we would really know about it. I know that they haven't had any up in the Uinta Basin. Maybe they could show us another shriveled up cow that's one color, one scene, and another color, another scene. Oh, did I say that? I did. I'm so naughty. See, I try to be nice, and I just can't do it when it comes to the dark overlord, Bat Boy and his minions up at Skinwalker Ranch. But speaking of my favorite topic, to diss on, what are your thoughts on the good old ranch?
Oh man, is this the first time I'm going to get roasted on the internet? It might be.
It's okay.
It's going to happen.
Defend
Okay.
you.
My thoughts on the ranch. Oh my gosh. Let me be really random here and just throw out some ideas first to just get myself, coordinated on what I want to say here. The ranch. It's been purchased by a couple people. There's an owner of it now. There's a show out there now. there seem to be some things that happen technologically out there. There seems to be a book by Lukatsky about all kinds of crazy stuff going on out there. I have not read that book though, so just full disclosure, you guys, if you guys are in here listening to me talk about this, again, just disclaimer, I almost don't feel like I know enough to give an opinion, but I'm gonna do it anyway. As I've studied aviation and geography and navigation, there are anomalies that are on Earth magnetically and stuff like that. I think in South America there's a magnetic anomaly. Anomalies on Earth happen. Part of me feels like some of the things observed could be, part of perhaps an anomaly. I haven't seen any measurements been presented or anything like that, or really any data for that. It's just an idea. I don't think anything paranormal is happening out there. That's my bias. That's my bias, though. I'm biased kind of against that, and I realize that. I just want to recognize that. But I do think something may be going on as far as what the Earth is doing and what the technology that's been stationed out there is interacting with. Humans are antennas for each other's feelings and each other's vibes, and equipment is antennas for physical processes. And maybe that's what's going on with some of it. But more than that, Erica, I wouldn't even know where to start. So
I think that's a great start. I mean, it is interesting
Okay.
to look at, anomalies and things. And those are the kind of things like, I mean, I don't know why they don't present a map of a USGS map of anomalies, magnetic anomalies and things. I have one here. Doesn't seem to be that much going on in that location. But again, that's something that they could definitely show on the program.
Or just a survey of the site and like what minerals may have been found on that site, if they have done such a survey anyway. Or it could be interesting to do that, just as a thought. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, I think that those are really great ideas. And I will say that now we're kind of talking a lot about the Native American aspect of the land, and people are saying, oh, this is Native American burial site, and throwing that kind of stuff in there. And I will say, if that is the case, again, there are laws that protect Native American sites, whether they're on private property or whether they're on public, property. And so, I was just researching that, and again, I'm going to call BS on the claims that they're making, because if you think that and you're putting that on a show and you're not calling the proper authorities, then that's a big problem. And I'm sure that there are legal implications with that. I'm just going to throw that out there because I just cannot be not spicy.
Okay, do it.
I know. I'm telling you, Mama's a little. I'm just always spicy. What can I say? And it's Sunday, and it's Father's Day, so I have to say Happy Father's Day, you guys.
Yes.
And I love your comments in here, you guys. B. Baker and Simon, you guys just crack me up. And thanks, you guys, for listening again from all over the world and understanding that we're all here asking questions because we should. And there are too many people, and I want to get your opinion, on this in the UFO world, who get in there like I did and bought everything. And I hope that we can, on this show, use the show as a vehicle to educate people like you're doing with your observations as an aviator, and just ask the right questions, because like I said, there's just so much. I really think American ufology is a complete circus sideshow, and it's like the clowns aren't even that cute. They're just annoying. I don't know. I mean, but what do you think about American ufology? What are your thoughts?
Oh man, great question. So when I was a kid, I grew up, obviously reading a lot. The first exposure I had to ufology was, I think, in 6th or 7th grade, reading every book in the library about the paranormal and UFOs. So, it kind of growing up, that subject was in the background. It definitely wasn't a focus of my life, but, as, during COVID and, when I had my interesting little sighting of orb helicopters, I started looking more into it. Started really looking at Lazar, to be honest, and looking into that, and half of me kind of believed him, and half of me didn't. I'm more on the end of I don't think this guy is for real, but let's see what happens and comes out maybe in the future. What I think about American ufology now, man, what I would love and what I realize that, and what I really hope everyone else realizes, is that American ufology is not like solely grounded in Twitter. Um,
What?
Twitter's, at least in my opinion, Erica, and I mean, maybe it is, and I'm just
No. Uh-uh. You're gonna break a lot
like,
of people's hearts. Oh.
yeah, I mean, Twitter is an interesting ecosystem, and it kind of is a self-feeding animal when it comes to just being nasty to each other half the time. Um, the things that I love about what's going on now, and I don't want to really talk about things I don't like, because I think the things I don't like are probably the things you don't like, which is the vitriol and the hating on people for one reason or the other. There's just a lot, but what I love is um, Avi Loeb and his efforts. What I love is, maybe NASA and their efforts to look at things. Not that that is necessarily defined as ufology, but it helps people in the subject and that are interested in what the truth is to rule things in or rule things out eventually when data comes out. Like James Webb, another example. That is a facet of the tools that people have to start, looking into space and looking at what's going on. Psychology, things that Halperin talks about, and maybe some future psychologists will talk about and explore. I know Gary Nolan looks into this a lot too. That is fascinating to me because that's yet another factor of that. So that's where I'm at with ufology. So, and Erica, if you're still there, I can't hear you. You may have to add me back in.
Oh my gosh. Okay, am I even on here? You guys, if you could see me, let me know. Because I could just like wander around like a complete goober. So anyway, yes, I'm here. I am thinking that my battery is not going to be lasting very long, and I just want to say thanks for your patience. So I know it is probably a raid from somebody somewhere, but yeah. So in case I don't know if can you guys hear me? Okay, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Just say yes. Just say no. Um, but hear me? Oh, I don't know. Good God. Okay. Anyway, I'm just gonna put this there and just say why. Why is this happening to me? It is very interesting, and I'm not sure if I can actually get back. Oh, good God, you guys! I'm telling you, Mama needs a cocktail. Okay, you guys can hear me. Okay, and I didn't just say that, but anyway, I kind of do. So, all right, if we can get Sparky Lady back on, I'm not quite sure how to get her. Oh, you're there! Yay. Okay, wait. See, I'm trying to figure this out. You guys, where is my freaking technical advisor? There you are. I'm going to add. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you guys for hanging with me. Can okay, you can hear me? You can see me?
I can hear you. Yep.
My Lord, Mary. Okay. It wouldn't be a freaking day without some sort of catastrophe. And I'm just like thinking, do I need to go outside? Is my building going to be on fire again? What's going on? But, so you guys, thank you. I love all the comments in chat. This is just, I don't know. I'm telling you, my life is interesting. Okay, so continue. Okay, give us what were we even talking about before I?
Yeah. So you asked me what my opinions were and my thoughts were on American ufology,
Yeah,
and I kind of started in, and I'll kind of rehash a little bit. So my first taste of American ufology was in reading different books about UFOs and sightings in the paranormal. The Betty and Barney Hill sighting were like the first experiences I ever heard about, which really when I was, 13, 14, reading about, no, 12, 13, reading about it, I was like, wow, I hope that never happens to me. And that's crazy. So I had some of those like, um, big experiences, stuck in my head. After that age, the early teens, I kind of left that aside and did my teenage things and all that. Um, then, after I had my sighting last year of the helicopters through orbs is what it turned out to be, like we talked about. I kind of got back into it. I looked into Lazar a little bit, and at first part of me believed what he was saying, and then other parts of me thought, oh man, that seems a little out there. And I'm more on the that's way out there feeling on him now. But that being said, like Simon loves when I say that being said, see what we see about see from him later on. um I was also saying that I'm not a huge Twitter user. I have an account, but Twitter is not ufology in my mind. Twitter is commentary on ufology, and there are some people that study ufology that use Twitter, and that's fine. But what I see on Twitter is also many people just really maybe have really sincere thoughts and beliefs, but are very bad at interchange with others that don't have the same belief, and they really everyone just really gets on each other's cases, and Twitter is really stressful. Like,
You
man.
know, I mean, it is, and it's like, I mean, you can see how it's like you just get in there and it's like this, it's like you're training your little gerbil mind, and it's like
Yeah.
around who's gonna what next, and who's gonna call me a stupid blah 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 blah. I mean, it's
Right.
um,
Right.
for hours.
Yeah, and it's Twitter, I see, I see where it can be useful for like posting a news item, but it seems really really poorly utilized by ufology, at least in some cases. What I love though that's going on is there's some science going on right now that we can learn more from. Avi Loeb's got the Galileo project. There's the James Webb Telescope. NASA recently had a conference about how they want to apportion some time and effort to also look into UAP, and I think that combined with the things that Halperin looks into, Gary Nolan looks into with, I think he's into neurology. I could be totally wrong. today. I'm a little fried today, but Nolan and just different people looking into different scientific aspects of what could be going on. I think that is a real boon to ufology. And yes, it might crack different, beliefs we might hold, biases to the skeptical or to the belief. Those biases could get cracked, and that's a good thing and a healthy thing, I think, for ufology. And I just hope that I hope that we can see some interesting results from those efforts and kind of put that into the pool of knowledge that is ufology, pair it with experiences, pair it with psychology, pair it with science, pair it with what we talked about with Skinwalker, with earth phenomena that happen, sky phenomena, earth lights, different things, and start to really put together a picture of what is going on. And what I'm gonna guess is that it is not one specific thing that's going on. It could be multiple things that comprise the ufology field and what ufologists study. I don't think ufologists just study UFOs. They study all the things I just said. So that's my thought. Long-winded.
Love that. No, I think that's really good. And I love that. And that, to me, it's like when I got into this, I really enjoyed looking at all of that. It's such a fun thing to do, and it expands your horizons, and you learn a lot about our natural world. And I think that's really important. And, I think you get in the UFO circus in America, you get so caught up in the dynamics and the just crap, not to be, I'm such a delicate little flower, but, it's like, give me a break. I mean, these people, Jeremy Corbell and his little triangle videos and, the certain memos that are being released that are just utter nonsense, and people claiming that they've got leaked documents when if they really were putting out leaked documents, they would over and over and over again, they might be a little legal problem for them. I don't know. I mean, sometimes you look at things, and the more you pull yourself away from everything, like the more you in a real world, like this is just stupid.
Yeah, I agree with you, Erica. And when it comes to the things that involve the government, goodness sake, I don't honestly feel like the government is gonna be any help in this effort necessarily. And yes, I just got done saying that NASA could be helpful in this, and I realize that's kind of maybe a double standard of me, but look at what Greenwald does, and look how he gets pulled around and given the runaround for just trying to find some documentation on what people said and what was talked about and what was studied. The government is out to protect itself. It's out to protect different secrets that may be there, and maybe legitimate secrets too. These leaks of documents, like and the Eric Wilson thing, I put those in a corner, in a box, and say, okay, this is this, and that's not anything that I put any belief or trust in at all. Maybe a little bit on what Greenwald pulls up, but again, I like what I'm seeing from outside the government a lot more than what I'm seeing from inside of the government. I personally feel like efforts to get the government involved in UAP is probably going to be more locking it down than giving more information, because the government is really good at just locking things down. I don't know. That's kind of a loosely and poorly put together thought on that subject, but that's how I feel right now about it.
It's the most rational thing I've heard in a long time.
Okay, good.
Like,
what a
And that's why, it's much as I wish, Chris was here, I'm so happy you are, because it's so much fun to talk to you.
Yeah, it's the first time we've talked, Erica. This is cool.
So excited. But there's, like I said, I just love the people that listen to my show, because they're so thoughtful with their questions, with just wanting to make sure that we're finding the answers, and stepping back and looking at things kind of from above all the little rat race going on in American ufology. And I think that's really, it's just rad. It's what we should be doing. We should be feeling empowered about this, and we should be able to ask questions without being bullied and intimidated by a bunch of rabid little kitties in their kitty box.
Right. I agree.
Right. I know. I'm telling you. Oh, Lord. So, okay. So tell us a little bit more, because Peter wanted to know about a little bit more information about your orb sighting, or your orb sighting.
Oh yeah, like I have two sightings actually. I have one sighting that I don't know what it is still. I don't know what it is yet. So I'll talk about the orb sighting, and then I'll talk about the one that I have no idea what it was, and maybe some people in chat have seen it and might know if it's something or if it's mysterious still. So the orb sighting, I think it was July of last year. It was a nice summer day, moderate humidity. I was looking south from my house. There's a military base, Joint Base Lewis McChord is about 9 miles south of me, and I was kind of looking in that direction. There were some kids flying drones in the neighborhood, just kind of little, mini quadcopter drones, and I was like, oh, cool, there's some drones, awesome. And then I'm on the approach path to SeaTac Airport. Also, I can see the airplanes on downwind, coming in to land most of the time. So, there's some airplanes flying around. The airport I fly around out of is really close to the tiny Cessnas, like what I fly, are on. Everything was in that picture, and I see three orbs, is silvery in shape. Two were white, and then at the apex, in the direction of travel, which was west to east. Is my audio okay?
Yeah, it's a little. It seems to be cracking a little bit, but I'm not sure.
Let me try to fix that a little bit. Sorry about that. There was a triangle formation of these orbs, a gunmetal gray, and then white, two gunmetal gray, one white, going west to east, and then they all stopped, and I was like, what is this? They seemed pretty far off, not close. They probably looked like a pinhead in my view, and I'd say probably 45 degrees up from the horizon is when I saw them. And then slowly they just kind of faded away, and I was like, oh, okay. And so I wrote it down in my journal. I have videos of it, but they didn't really show up too much in the videos. So I wrote it down in my journal, called MUFON, and spoke with an investigator about it, which was a cool experience.
There's some great. As much as I bag on MUFON, there's some people.
There are some really good people.
Sure.
They're sincere, They're sincere, the ones I've met, which is fine. If you're sincere, then your heart's in the right place. So,
yep.
But yeah, they said, we think these are probably a drone or a helicopter. And in my mind, I was like, I've never seen a helicopter like that, but okay. This was before I got into aviation. So I was like, right, this is a helicopter. Okay, it looks like some orbs to me. So I didn't hear any sounds or anything like that. So fast forward, now almost a year, now that I've been doing aviation for about 7 months, I've seen that phenomena before, or again now, and having, a ADSB, which is, airplanes send out a signal and you can see what they are and their tail number and stuff like that. Having seen that on ADSB, knowing they were helicopters that I was looking at, it's like, oh, these were helicopters after all. These MUFON guys were right.
Don't you hate that? When I first got into MUFON, and I was just like, yeah, people were telling, okay, no, this is mundane. What? Are you kidding me?
Right.
I want to see something fantastic. But then, it's like, the more you know, and like we have, here in Salt Lake, we've got Hill Air Force Base, and then I talk about this a lot, but we've got the NSA, which is some of the most airspace in the world, all sorts of things. And so I think it is interesting because we have a lot going on in the skies now.
Yes.
Like when I started paying attention to things and you look up, it's like, it's fascinating and it's cool. I love learning that. And I just have to share a story, and I've talked a little bit about this on the show before, but when I was state director for MUFON, this was back in, 2014, I believe, I got a call from Fox News here, and they were having during the day, it was like a Friday, I believe, and they had witnesses that were calling into the posting on social media everywhere, because they were seeing 5 to 7 cylinder, not cylinder shaped, oval shaped metallic objects that were hovering in the sky. And it was really interesting because I got onto social media and trying to contact people that were posting videos, and I had some success. A group of people that were in an apartment complex and got each of their different perspectives on things, and they were all outside in the courtyard, and they looked up and they claimed that there was like an absence of sound around them when the objects were overhead, and that the wildlife that they could normally hear was not there. And then they said that the 4 of the objects went off, 4 or 5 in one direction, and then another one went the other direction, that there were military helicopters in the air at the time, and fighter jets. So there was military craft that was kind of monitoring the presence, and it was really, it was interesting. We did a FOIA request with the help I used Bill Puckett, who I just think is amazing with that, and we did a radar request, and the first time we got the disc back from the FAA, it was unreadable text format, and flash forward to the Nephi American Airlines case that I did a little bit later, then we could kind of pick out on the text. I had somebody, Martin Schaff, look at it, and he said that he could pick up a lot of military presence in the area of the sightings. But when I put this forward to the people at MUFON, they said that they were Google Loon balloons, and
Interesting.
we're seeing the next day in Colorado, all over Colorado. And so it was quite curious. I did a great report on the UFOs in Colorado. I think Matt Renaud did that. You can find it on YouTube, over Breckenridge. And I mean, he went to every agency known to man, and they they were saying, nope, we don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. And I talked to the FAA several times, and they're, okay, they're not Google Loon balloons. If they were, you couldn't see them. They'd be up so high, and they weren't testing in the area at the time, and things. And so it was really, really interesting. Was that some sort of surveillance technology? I mean, who knows what was going on? But that was an interesting case to get the data, to talk to people, to kind of learn a little bit more now what we've got going on in the skies and things. And so it was a fun case.
Yeah, that sounds really, really cool. I love that kind of stuff. I hope that someday I can help, shed light on a case just through some of my experiences that I'm having with aviation.
So cool.
That's really interesting. I'd like to talk for a minute about the sighting I had that I don't know what it was, if that is okay, and give some ideas on what I think it was. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So the other sighting happened, I believe it was summer of 2017, and I was down in Red Cliffs in Utah, somewhere down in there in your home state, Erica. I was camping, and I don't know the area. I don't know if there are any airports nearby. So if there are, then that's a fact that we can look at, or I can look at. But we were camping, and we had set up and camp and put our chairs down, and we saw the classic cylinder shaped craft go by. It looked like it had lights on it, but it wasn't in a straight line like an airliner would have windows. They were kind of speckled all around. My friend and I both feel that it was a craft and not a Starlink-like thing, because we've both seen later now, we've seen what Starlink looks like, and we don't think that it resembles that. Had a little bit of a whooshing noise. It was just really interesting, just your classic cigar-shaped craft sighting. In my experiences in aviation, we do exercises for engine out emergencies. Like the instructor will basically pull all the power out of the airplane, and you're just basically a glorified glider at that point. And I could see where if there was an aircraft doing that kind of exercise, it could sound and maybe look a little like that. But it was just so curious. Like we both looked at each other and went, what the hell was that? We didn't see any wings or anything like that. We didn't see any of your typical lights that are required to be on aircrafts. Have you seen anything like that or heard of any explanations for those cigar sightings, Erica?
And I've definitely had a lot of people that have seen them, and I don't know what the explanation necessarily would be. But when you had that sighting, did you pull any data off like flight radar or anything?
No, we were on a long road trip, and I had no idea about flight radar at that time or anything. I wish I did, because I would have been all over that if that was nowadays.
No, I mean, if you're like now, if you saw something, what would be like your kind of modus operandi? How would you investigate things? What would you?
Oh yeah. So, what I would do if I was there with sighting and if I had reception, I would immediately pull up flight radar 24, one of these other trackers, just to see if what I'm seeing roughly matches altitude and direction of travel. What I would also do is, as soon as I could, go on the FAA's. There's an aviation weather center where you can get what's called PIREPs, pilot reports. And that's just for pilots to, call in weather and weather anomalies. And that can be kind of important if you have a sighting. Like on my first sighting, there was haze in the area, and that was just, causing the helicopters to look distorted. Haze can really do that to other airplanes too. Airplanes look crazy through haze. So I would look at that and just see what was the weather, what was the humidity, are there pilots reporting interesting weather up there? And then if I was, really stumped, I would ask the FAA for any data that I could, either from any of the control towers if it was near an airport, or any of the, like, I think they're called flight centers, or we just call them center. And they're basically your control, and information stations in between the major airports. So I would probably try to get data from center wherever I was, to see if they found something. I know the FAA only keeps things for a certain amount of time. So if you guys are doing investigations, you need to get on it if you want FAA stuff. I
Right.
think 30 days or maybe even 15. So time is important on that. So that's where I would go. And they would probably still ask MUFON, because, they could know how to research it further. Or I would ask some of my friends that I have met through ufology and see what they think. It's kind of where I would start.
That's great. They're great ideas, and it's so cool now because we've got technology right on our phone, and we can just look. Check. What's it's happening in first and more. What's happening with all of these things in our environment, and that's really a great tool for us to be able to utilize when we're investigating things. But I just want to get out there and go look at the sky, even though I was mentioning that we have really bad fires here, and so it's just like really hazy at the moment. But I would just, I love doing that. And this summer, I'm going to have to find somebody to go with me. I want to go out, and there's a really cool observatory out by the Great Salt Lake, and hang out with some of those people. In fact, a couple of those people were people that I met. They do stargazing parties out there. And they were on the Skinwalker Ranch show, and I will say that they were looking a little stumped, but probably didn't know what they got into. I don't know. Yeah, but it is fascinating. And so what else? Like what? Give us more background on your life, details.
Oh my goodness. Where do I start? All of our lives, they can seem really basic, but they're all very unique and rich, every single one of us. Gosh, how detailed do you want to go? There's a certain amount that I don't want to share on the internet. I will say that.
Fun. Exactly where you are and everything about your personal life. It's
right. Did you? Yeah. Did you ask me like what I do for fun just now?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What do you do for fun?
So what I enjoy, things like we're doing right now, just talking to people about the subject. We've already talked ad nauseum about aviation, which is super fun. I love all kinds of artistic things. I especially love things like calligraphy and looking at manuscripts of books and stuff like that. I have a couple of books that go over the history of ancient manuscripts, and some of those manuscripts have really weird aerial phenomena painted right in them too. So that folds right in. What did they see back then? There are some papers that I've read about UFOs in antiquity that are really interesting. I don't have the names of the author right now, but that folds into it a little bit. Then I love folding origami. I saw Top Gun, so I folded an origami stealth fighter and gave it to my flight instructor.
Cool.
And because I'm an electrician, I built a it's hard to explain, but you build it on a battery with a couple magnets and it spins around, and so it's like a spinning airplane origami thing that I just built. So I love putting together weird, quirky stuff like that. I have a kayak that I absolutely love going on. I love to go hiking. Absolutely love hiking.
And because Utah is just absolutely gorgeous.
It is. And I live up here in Western Washington State, and we have mountains aplenty. It's very, very beautiful. In Utah, I've been down to Kanab in the southern Utah. Mind blowing, like Lake Powell. Man, whew, gorgeous.
Yeah. And, unfortunately, even though climate change is not happening clearly, I mean, everything's drying up. And there was an article about the Great Salt Lake that I posted, I think on Twitter or Facebook, but it was basically saying that since the lake is disappearing, which is it's a pretty big catastrophe, there will be certain things that are released into the air that will be very harmful for humans.
Interesting.
And, just the world has gone bonkers. And between here and the Great Salt Lake, I don't even know what. I'm sure that, the apocalypse is at hand, I guess. So
the riders are here.
Yeah, better, start camping food and get some guns and get ready to rumble.
Yeah, being prepared is always good. COVID taught us that. The difference between being a quote unquote prepper and being a hoarder is like 2 weeks, like you just got to keep, be reasonable. Like I always go back to reasonable, rational, and whatever other thing I said, just, try to take care of yourself.
I have to just say, like when COVID hit, like we all had, experiences where people, were running, pushing people over and getting toilet paper and all this stuff. And it was so funny because I saw people that were in, of the local, faith around here, which I am too, but I've not been to church for quite some time, clearly. But, they were like, these are people like preppers. They're preppers. We know this food storage is very important. And they were like basically knocking people over to get supplies. And I'm thinking, people, you guys are prepping. You need to give this person a break right here. It was so crazy. So just interesting.
Yeah. Everyone just needs to calm down. In all cases, Erica, everyone just needs to calm down. I know the world's crazy, but we can do our part to make it crazier for ourselves or less crazy.
Yeah, I totally agree. And yes, we do need to breathe deeply, stay off social media,
do some yoga or something.
Yes, clearly walk 2 feet, do that, but I don't. Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's fascinating. I want to ask you too, because, we get involved in the UFO topic. There's so many things that come to mind, and you get involved and people they literally are preparing for the apocalypse, and you get a lot of conspiracy theory injected into the UFO topic. And so what are your thoughts on some of these belief systems that we see, specifically Armageddon and the angels and demons are UFOs and things?
Man, that's such a good question, Erica. And again, I'm going to caveat myself and say I don't know if I know enough about this to make a good opinion on it, but I'll try. People have been under pressure for a long time in many different ages and eras, and have tried to make sense of things in the best way they know how, and have tried to find hope in things in the best way they know how. And by no means is that a bad thing necessarily. My philosophy, if a couple of my friends are in this chat, do no harm, but take no shit. And where does this apply in what we're seeing with some of the belief systems? If someone believes that the aliens are going to come and save the planet, and we just need to believe that it's going to happen, if that's what does it for that person, who am I to negate that or try to argue that with them? One could, and people do, but what does that do for me? It doesn't give me anything to argue that with that person. Now, if there is someone that has a cult-like leader status of some kind. And no, I'm not talking about a particular person. There are many individuals that have filled this role. So, chat, don't roast me. I'm not talking about one person here. I'm talking about different people. If that happens, and that there are belief systems and then there are actions spurred by said beliefs that become harmful to people, that is going beyond the do no harm and take no shit. That's you are now doing harm and giving a lot of shit. I shouldn't swear on your channel. I'm sorry.
No, you tell it, Mama.
Right.
Tell it like it is.
So, for me, I respect people's right to believe. This is America, and we can believe how we want, but we can't hurt each other. And if the beliefs become a harmful thing, if the beliefs become an abusive thing, aka if things like what Brewer has described in his book with the perpetuating of a belief upon a person who may have other things going on, that's harmful.
Yes.
Beyond that, I don't know. For me personally, I just am interested in just every aspect of it. Like we talked about, psychology, science, maybe there is aliens or are aliens, although I don't think there are necessarily at this point. I'm open to it. I have a skeptical bias and I recognize it. Some people have a less skeptical bias and They may or may not recognize it. And as long as we're all nice to each other and can talk about it,
that would be, again, the seventh
the
son
nice
of the
to each other
apocalypse.
part is the key.
I know. And it's so, yeah, and I think, again, I just have to go back and say that's why I love the people that listen to my show, because they're just cool. It's like nobody is ever in here in chat, like, talking about anything in a nasty way. I mean, every once in a while we'll get some little weird troll popping out from who knows where. His little Mama's basement, coming from Mama's basement, broadcasting live on my channel, coming into my chat. I don't know. But okay, so I've got to just, now that I went off on that little strange tangent. So what do you think about the abduction phenomena then?
Oh yeah. So something I haven't looked into terribly, but I have an opinion on it. I've looked into somewhat lightly the phenomena, or the fact that sleep paralysis can have some very, very powerful experiences on people. Part of me, I wonder out loud, is much of the abduction phenomena have that, in play? I don't know the answer to that, Erica. It seems like it could. There are people, there are people that have some very powerful experiences. I think of things Melinda Leslie has said about what she says she has gone through, and I have no idea, of her background or anything, or sleep paralysis for her, no idea at all. But I mean, those are some heavy claims. And she's not the only one. There are others, less well-known people that will have those experiences. Man, a good part of me feels like sleep paralysis really needs to be explored when talking about it.
Have you ever had that happen before?
The closest, honestly, just a couple nights ago, I had a weird experience. I was in bed and I woke up and I couldn't move, and I saw a huge black spider crawling on my ceiling, and then I fell back to sleep. That's the only time I've ever experienced really any kind of...
Well, that sounds fun.
It was like, in my mind, I'm going, nope.
That is not going to happen. You got off my freaking ceiling right now. Yeah, that's...
It was I think though, like, what I had been experiencing that week though is I had just had my flight review to get signed off for my solo flight, and so it was a total stress dream, I think. But I remember that experience. Hold on just a minute. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. It's reminding me that I have something to do in an hour, which is fine.
Alexa, stop.
Yeah.
I love Alexa.
She and Siri really hate me. They try to screw my life up all the time.
Can you even imagine if I actually utilized either of those? I don't even know what that crazy stuff would happen in my realm of reality.
But I know. But back to sleep paralysis, interesting things can happen neurologically. I think it's neurologically to us. where people are getting scars and things like that and like little bits and pieces stuck in them, I wouldn't even begin to be able to talk about that, Erica. I have not looked into that part. That seems pretty wild. I hope that we're not getting abducted and implanted, but
that would be not
terrifying.
it would. I mean, and I've had sleep paralysis. In fact, when I was really, when you do go through those stressful times, like for me, it was just absolutely insane, and it's terrifying, and you can't move, and you are almost certain that there are things in the room with you, and you feel that kind of impending doom, and it really is unnerving to have stuff like that happen. But I don't know, it's fascinating. And so let me just see if there's any other questions. And B. Baker, I love your comments. You were mentioning Greer, Stephen Greer being kind of a cult leader, and I think I want to kind of get into that too, because it's such an interesting thing, especially like right now in American ufology. There are cult leaders that we see that are really getting in there and kind of manipulating the minds of large, maybe not large, but following, people that are trying to get into the subject, and are pushing an agenda. And it's been fascinating to me to see that sometimes the agenda that people are pushing has absolutely nothing to do with UFOs, and more about potentially running for Congress in 5 years. And so that's curious to me. And what would be your advice to try to tell people to look back and kind of look at things from a logical perspective?
Man, that's such a great question. To me, I don't know if I have the very best way of like telling. I guess I can only share my opinion, Erica, which I'll do. I'm not, I'm not used to this format. Greer, Elizondo, etc. What do I think about that? Greer, back in the day, he did push for things in Congress in different ways, at least according to what my knowledge, and that has to be recognized. Now it seems like what he's doing is just, making experiences and, selling experiences. And that, I mean, whatever, dude. I'll go fly your flares for you, Greer. Sure.
That was a good one.
I'll dump those things out my airplane. I'll cut the power and, turn off my lights and dump some flares out for you. Sure. That's how I feel about it. It's like, you're selling an experience. And if someone, what I hate though, is if someone believes that this is a true paranormal experience, and it potentially isn't, that does bother me. One thing I would love to do is, there are certain airspaces and there's requirements for airspaces. And I wonder where Greer's stuff is located. And I wonder if that airspace even requires, ADSB or anything like that. Because if it doesn't, it'd be really easy to, you're not supposed to do this at night, but flick off the lights of the airplane and pull the power out, just like I do when I do my emergency exercises. And, relatively quietly glide with no lights on and kick flares out the plane. Not all airspace requires ADSB. So most does. But
and that's so great. Thank you for that. That's a really important comment. And I definitely say that the hoaxing is certainly in the realm of reality with a lot of these people. And I know that there were things that were hoaxed at the ranch during the Bigelow days and things, and I still believe they're probably hoaxing things to this day. But whatever, just to sell the TV show. Anyway, I swear, one of these days, you guys are going to not hear me talk about Skinwalker Ranch. And that actually,
it's fine if you do. I think it's fine if you do.
Well, thank you.
That's an important part. That's a really important part of your journey in this topic, Erica. And you should not. I personally don't think that you should discount that or feel guilty about bringing it up, because it's like someone listening to you for the first time. Like when I first listened to you, I was like, wow, she has had a journey. That's important.
Thank you. That's nice, because I mean, it obviously has left a big imprint on my life. And I think for me, it's been an eye-opening experience that I really didn't need to have, but I did. And I keep learning more and more. And I know that I mentioned, the conference that I went to like 3 weeks ago, and I met some amazing people. and they really did, the conference organizer did a great job pulling it together. It's fun for the community, but I was just kind of blown away that during, the lectures, multiple lectures, people would half the way through, okay, oh, you need to buy cryptocurrency, get those NFTs.
Yeah.
Brendan Fugel has, ownership and there's a lot of stake in, a certain company that they might be promoting. And it was just like, what is going on? And I don't know. I just think it's sketchy. And I think, again, playing on people's vulnerabilities and
That's just it. That's just it. It's the vulnerabilities thing. Simon and I have had some good chats about how vulnerabilities are played on in this community. And that's where you have the harm.
Absolutely. And I mean, even like with people that are military veterans, I mean, seeing the way that some of these people play on them, and they deserve the utmost respect and honor for their sacrifices and commitment to keeping us safe. And it's like, I really hate to see the way they're being manipulated, and just for people's, to make money and to steer a specific narrative. And that's, I think, really detrimental, especially when service members have experienced so much in the line, of duty and things. That's really a shame. And I hope that more will kind of come out about that, and people will start to stand up, like we did, I think, on Twitter. But the last one, I'm staying off there today, you guys. But I mean, having some of these comments made, trying to justify or spin history, saying that, yes, okay, Nazis, well, no, guess what, they were all liberals, and kind of spinning, the narrative. And it's like, what does that have to do with anything? It's really shameful to me. But those are my own opinions. I happen to think that we deserve to explore this together and not be manipulated. And I think that's really.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's really, I mean, I have not fallen in super deep on any particular person's ideas, but just the more I've researched, the more I've seen the importance of critical thinking and all of this. And I've had to learn to critically think through my journey in researching too. I mean, my goodness. I have some awesome friends through this community that have not been afraid to slap me around a little bit and say, hey, you gotta think more critically about this here, because this is not how it seems, one thing or another. And I can't think of any particular examples off the top of my head, because there's been so many. But it makes you a better person when you can just step back and be like, okay, what's rational and reasonable and logical about this? And make a pro-con sheet, or of it, or like a logical and not that logical sheet for yourself mentally, and go, okay, well, this could be the case, and this is probably bunk, and this I don't know yet. So
right. And I mean, that's good. And I really like that. And I think and I'm sure, like you mentioned, Simon and things. I mean, there's some really cool people that, that I've come in contact with. And although I've never met, most of you in person, it's like, I just feel like I know you, and you've got some great input, and you're really there behind the scenes to try to encourage people to look at things rationally. And I think that's so important.
Yeah. I have to also shout out like Matthew Riot for that too.
Yep,
like he's really, man, glad I met him, and man, he has like been awesome for like, gently slapping me up a few times.
And you know what I'm telling you, I mean, it's like a group effort.
Yeah.
I think that's so important, to have a good grounded group of people around you that can say, okay, wait a minute. I mean, I Barry Greenwood, is, we all, because I talk about him so much, and he's been on the show a lot, but he's a dear friend and a mentor to me. And it's, there've been times that he's just like, what are you? No, we're not. You're not believing this, hairy shapeshifter on the top of Skinwalker Ridge. Just don't go there.
Ghost owls and dino beavers.
I mean, okay, yeah, dino beavers. I mean, and then I guess, people were getting grief because they called it a dino beaver. I guess that's disrespectful. I don't know.
Oh,
I mean,
sorry. Oops. I have not read that book, so just
well, I mean, I'm not sure if I should encourage you to pay for it.
I'm not sure I'm really missing anything, but just the little snippets I've heard, It sounds like an awesome LSD trip to me.
Well,
I
there might
mean,
be
I could be
some
totally wrong about that, but
could
oh,
could
man.
look at the little dino beaver. Yeah, maybe they're all out there tripping. Maybe that's what it is. I mean,
Maybe.
I know that
Could be.
there have been people that go out there and, DMT and different
Yeah,
things. I mean, I certainly that wouldn't be the first place I'd go, but hey, whatever.
I won't step foot there ever. Like I just not because I think there's something paranormal, but just because I just places have vibes, and I just I wouldn't go out there if with an invite.
I mean,
Just no.
yeah, because there's some guys sitting in the bushes zapping you with some little freaking piece
Right.
of
It's just
equipment.
like what? Yeah, it's
There's
like,
your
oh yeah, you'll
paranormal
really find
experience.
right. Like you'll really find out what's going on here, and oh, now I'm tased. Or I doubt that would happen, but I just I don't want to fly in a helicopter in a place where helicopters have had their radio altimeter, or not that, but their whatever messed with, or any of the above. I just
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
pass.
chances are you wouldn't, but I mean, you could say a prayer and it would be okay.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah, I
do you,
mean, whatever it takes, man. Like,
well, I would. Did you watch the show? Have you watched any of the episodes?
I have only watched snippets of America. Honestly, Skinwalker Ranch doesn't really interest me.
Oh, okay. I know. I mean, like I need to film me watching the show because I've just, it's like I need to.
Like
I don't know
reaction
what.
videos.
It's yes. It's a lot of out yelling, a lot of yelling out loud. Just like, what are you guys doing? And I have to say, like honestly, if there is something going on, why are the cameras and the lights still working? Why is it only specific things like cracked cell phones that are having,
Good point.
strange things? It's just crazy. But I want to say, B. Baker, thank you guys. Thanks for getting in here. And I know you've got to run. And then Simon just mentioned that he'd go on there as long as he didn't have to sign an NDA. And I think that would be good. But good luck with that one. And then Goth White said that he's a carpenter by design, build guy. I have a soft spot for trade peeps, and you're a keeper. So I think that's really awesome.
Oh.
You are a keeper. I have to say, like, I'm super stoked that
Thank you.
you've agreed to come on the show last minute, just on the fly, and
Yeah.
that's
No
really
problem. I'm
fun.
happy to. I've never done anything. This is the first time I've ever been on any show.
Really?
Period. Ever.
Oh,
Yeah. This is my first time,
yay.
Erica.
Well, I'm excited. I have a feeling that you might be asked to come on different shows. You should, because your
I'd love
your
to talk to
voice.
anybody about this.
Yes, it's so much.
know?
It's so refreshing to like hear from somebody with a perspective like yours, and a new conversation instead of like the same old same olds. And so I just think that's really cool. I hope you get asked to come on some shows.
I'd
That'd
love
be
to. I mean, if someone wants to talk to me, I'll tell them what's on my mind.
Yeah, well, good. More of us need to do that. I mean, it's like, yeah, we need to do that. And I really think, people always say you can't clean up the field and blah blah blah. And that might be, I don't know what true, but I'm kind of like a little Don Quixote here. I like to chase windmills and think that we can make a difference and make
I think we can,
subjects better,
Erica. I really think we can because, again, I go back to the things within science that are happening. And then with NARCAP too, I'm so glad you brought that up because I totally forgot. Just these kinds of efforts, I think will bring a different, just different perspectives into the field,
Right.
absolutely.
And I think it's interesting to me too, because it's some of these organizations, like NARCAP, it's like those are the people, in my opinion. I mean, I think Ted has a lot to offer with the technical reports and the cases that NARCAP has investigated over the years. And to me, it's like, why are we, submitting the Wilson Davis documents, and talking about, I mean, I think it was funny that they did talk about Jeremy Corbell in the hearing, and kind of debunked his video and things. But it's like there's so many important things that need to be presented. It's like, why are we wasting our time with Jeremy Corbell and with some of these preposterous things? And to me, that was like I don't know. There's some definite games going on, but we need to get good people in there representing things and good research. So I like what you're
Agree.
saying about that. Yeah. So like with your background, with your skill set, I mean, what would you like to do? Like if you were to go to a location, what equipment would you bring? What would you be, looking for? We had to have a camping trip. Maybe we should just put that on the schedule for like next summer. You guys come to Utah,
Yeah, come up here.
show
I'll come
you
down there
around.
and we'll go
Yeah.
camping here.
Would that be fun? And Angels
Yeah.
Are Life. Yeah. Thanks for, I mean, yeah, I agree. I like our guest too. I like my guest too. It's pretty
Oh,
cool.
thank you.
And so, yeah, but maybe I will do that. Maybe we should seriously plan. I'm throwing this out to all of you guys, a little trip next summer, like maybe early in the summer where everybody could come to Utah. We could do like maybe a 4 or 5 night tour of all the UFO hotspots. We could get in the bushes with our night vision goggles and spy on people shooting their lasers off and rockets. Oh God, we'd have so much fun. This would be fun. So think about it.
Definitely, yeah. So what would I bring to a place where I wanted to make observations? Man, I'm not really sure. I would like any kind of imaging equipment that could pick up different like spectrums of light that may not be visible to the human eye. Man, what I'd really love to do is stalk Greer with one of his things with that kind of equipment and with the JDSB tracker. I mean, that's if I had all the time and money in the world, I would probably try to stalk Greer, stalk him a little bit, and like stalk one of his experiences and see what I could find out. Not necessarily to like hang him out to dry, but to just for myself go, know your secret, buddy.
And that would be really interesting. You're my kind of girl. I like it. Causing trouble in the UFO world, but I mean, that would be fascinating. And I think the one thing that is, having spoken at a conference, with him, it was very interesting because it was like, and I had to go backstage and give the audio visual people my stuff, but I tried to go backstage to do that, and it's like, I mean, oh, you can't come back here, Stephen Greer's back here, no, you gotta go.
Really?
And it was just like, oh,
something?
shizzle. I mean,
Really?
these people are
Wow.
freaking serious. It's like, they're flanking him, and it's like, oh, here he comes. They've got his people around him, and it was just like, I mean, seriously, like, where are my people? I need my people. But, I wouldn't, do that. And it was really funny because the audiovisual people who I love, I mean, Carlos has been on my show before. He usually does most of the conferences and stuff, and they just work so hard. And his audio video was having problems. And I mean, he just had a meltdown and started yelling at the people behind the stage. And I just thought, between that and his talk of big biceps, I'm like, oh my Lord, have mercy. It's like, people are supposed to be like love and light. And this is about, our consciousness evolving. And yes, and we're connecting to the whatever, and it's like, and then people turn around and they're so freaking nasty. And it's like, where is your love and light? Maybe somebody put that where the sun don't shine. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. And I mean, yeah, it's really weird. And that, when you see that the people are revealing who they are by their actions, if someone is chill on their videos and then they're chill in real life, it's like they're probably a pretty chill person and really, believe that what they're saying. But if they're being a weirdo in person and sometimes people are weird when they're nervous and stuff like that, but if they're being a true really mean bizarre person in real life, it's like, well, it's likely that there's a disconnect between what they say they believe and what they really believe.
and maybe he's a very lovely person when you get to know him. I mean,
Maybe.
But maybe, I mean, but I've just that sounded genuine on my part. I guess I need to take some more acting classes. But it's it's like, yeah. I mean, it is interesting just to see, to go to different conferences and just to watch, people, and to watch, like, you've got Mr. So-and-so over here who could not seriously get a date in high school, who has all these women like falling all over him, and it's like, it's just, I'm sure, I don't know if you guys could even, guess who I'm trying to talk about, but he's like, sitting at his table and, oh, come have me sign your book. I mean, I mean, that was, I mean, don't even know who that impersonation was because that was frightening. I'm just preparing for my sock puppet show, clearly.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, Erica. So I've never been to any UFO conference before. Like, is there? I almost joined, or not joined, but I almost took the internet version to the SCU conference, but I've just, my funds are so dry from flight training. It's really expensive,
I'm
so I have to
sure.
prioritize. Um, that's on my list of things to visit. Maybe in person someday. But like
Yeah,
other conferences, like what would you recommend, or like what would you recommend staying away from? You kind of know my personality now, and I'm kind of a no BS person.
I
Um,
definitely would not go to a conference that featured Hal Puthoff. I don't know, call me
okay.
crazy, but that guy's been behind more nonsense than anybody, really. But I wouldn't do that. But I mean, again, it's like it is interesting to go and just observe, and I think that's like you see that it's really telling to watch people, to watch the narrative that they're spinning, to watch the not only in the last conference I was at, just it was kind of a group of people that had a specific message and they were selling things behind the scenes and or up in front of everybody. Who am I kidding? And so it was, I think those are important things. I really love. A few years ago, I spoke at the Michigan conference, and it's totally leaving my brain. But Deb and RJ are like amazing, amazing people, and I'll post that link for you guys. But I mean, they were absolutely lovely to work with, and they just really care about the subject. They care about the people that come to the conference, and I would definitely go there. And I think that Noe Torres does a great job down in Texas. That's a really fun conference. He's done interesting speakers. I mean, he's got some of the same people that are on the speaking circuit, but he brings different people, and he also like works so hard to work with the community. And they have like a little parade, and everybody's so excited, and they dress up. And I mean, that might sound, you know
That's cool.
I mean, it was really, really fun to see the way through that event he pulled a community in. They pull a community in and get them excited about things, and just fun place, fun people. I love that part of Texas. That was really fun, and I hope I get to go back down there again. But so there are some, you know, interesting conferences and great people that work really hard and sacrifice a lot of their own money to put on the conferences, and I respect that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, if it's a
So
true interest they have and they want to, gather some like-minded people, whatever it is, I think that's really cool. And people should embrace that communities and get together and talk about things and debate things. I love that.
yeah, no, it was, and even with the conference I was at, like, oh, and Simon, don't ask me that question.
What did he ask?
He has to bet a certain
Oh,
person. No, 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 no. Yeah. Anyway, so that's my reply. Um, yeah. Okay. Wow. I just got so thrown off track about that one. Yeah. Anyway, so I mean, the people that go to the conferences, like I met Alien Girl, and I was on her
oh, cool.
show, and I just I had so much fun with her. She's such a cute person, just so bubbly,
She
and
seems really nice. I've only like chatted with her
she's
briefly in
cool.
chat, but she seems just really, really cool and laid back.
Yeah,
That's
she was just
awesome.
fun. Yeah, I know it's like it's fun to hang out with people, and I have friends that are in that neighborhood. But it's like I love like why I love doing the show. I love meeting people, and I love hearing people's experiences. And I think that's such an anonymous Rex. Well, yeah, we can do our interview anytime. So I mean, it's like I love, and I think that's it. When you have experiences like I've had with Skinwalker Ranch and some of these people that have appeared really, really genuine to begin with, and I've learned that they're really not over time. It's like
Mhm.
you lose out on that sense of connecting with other people that have had potentially life-changing experiences, or they've are in a learning process and they want to know more about what's taking place. And it's like those are the important things, that connection to other people, just the fun this subject should be, I think,
Yep.
for me, that should be empowering. And I love meeting people and talking to them and just hanging out. And so I don't know. I just,
Me too. That's the beauty of any community,
yeah,
is just to have a nice dialogue, and you each learn something from one another, potentially, and
it's
go
fun.
from there.
Yeah, just have a good time. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
even now that I've got like so many like things going on in my mind because I'm like, maybe I should put on a conference.
that'd be pretty interesting. That'd be cool.
Wouldn't it be interesting? Yes, it would be. I think
Yeah.
it would be really fun. I knew who I'd be bringing, and it wouldn't be anybody on the speaking circuit now.
Bring a bunch of salt of the earth people.
You,
Can
I
all
would
hang
bring
out.
you.
Yeah. I mean, I'd come hang out for sure. So,
And that would be really fun. And like, I mean, it's yeah, like I said, Salt Lake, even to do like just a tour of some of the places here. I don't think we'd necessarily go to Dugway. I think we'd keep that off the list because we don't want to, get exposed to something out there. But there's
what?
so many, like there are so many cool places in Utah. We could,
There are. I
and then you could
camped
come to the
near.
archive, you know?
Yeah, I camped near Heber City also, and Heber City is so cute, man.
Heber is gorgeous, and that's really close to Park City, and that's you go through Heber to get to Roosevelt, and Skinwalker
Oh,
Ranch and things. And so it
okay.
really is interesting. And I've investigated over the years some very fascinating cases up there, and I actually spoke for the Park City. Oh my gosh, the Rotary Club, and that was really
Oh,
interesting and stuff. And so it's like I don't know, it's yeah, it's cool. I love as much as I sometimes am like with the certain things taking place in my personal life here and seeing how inefficient the system is. But I do love this state. It's a beautiful place. But
well, what we'll do, Erica, once I get my license, my pilot's license, if you come up here, we'll go fly over Maury Island, then we'll go fly where Kenneth Arnold flew, and then we'll come back and have a glass of wine.
okay, maybe that sounds better than here. That would be so cool.
Yeah, no, I will totally, once I get my license, which will happen by the end of the summer, get some experience flying around. We'll totally do a UFO flight, like a UFO, you know,
Oh,
sighting flight. I fly over Maury Island all the time. And I always think about the donut UFOs raining metal down, and I don't know if that was, ever debunked or whatever, but I'm sure probably was.
some interesting, yeah, stuff about that. And I'll have to talk about that and have to pick Barry's mind. But oh my gosh, that's so cool. And so
Yeah,
let's talk about.
yeah.
I mean, oh Lord, have mercy, save
So
the
fun.
planet.
Yep.
So yeah,
You're
that'd be
like
cool.
UFO pilots.
But that is so cool. I mean, you could like turn that into a little business.
Who knows? If I got a commercial pilot's license and
Yeah.
decided I want to do that, it'd be an honest living. I'd just say, hey, we're going to tour the sightings, the aerial sightings that have happened in Washington State, because there've been different sightings, and Kenneth Arnold really kind of kicked it off with his out near Mount Rainier, which is not super far. I mean, one of my planned flights coming up is over to Packwood, which is near Mount Rainier, so it's not. There's an airport right there, Erica. We could just drop in and have lunch.
Oh, how fun. Okay, I'm sold. I'm coming to visit you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually gonna put my number in the chat so you can text me, and we should totally keep in touch.
Yes, we should. Oh, absolutely. Don't. I mean, yes, you've got a new friend and supporter here.
Great.
It will encourage you to get out there and seriously like do some more shows. You need to. We have, I think, even with the people in chat, it's like if you guys just got out there and did some shows, then we could maybe counterbalance some of the other nonsense going on in the field, and we could make a big change. And I think that would be freaking amazing.
It'd be really fun. Yeah. I
So
mean, the more the merrier, I say.
yeah, absolutely. And Anonymous Rex, when am I going to give presentations? I have spoken at different conferences, and now that COVID's kind of tapering off, hopefully I can get back and start speaking again. I miss that. And as you can only imagine, to see me on stage trying to give a PowerPoint, if Mama can't unmute her mic, and if there are technical difficulties, you can only imagine what my PowerPoint is like. Frightening. But it's like I'm like obviously just so good at like rolling with it. It's like I don't, pull a Stephen Greer and you guys are bad behind the stage. I'm just like, whatever, my slides aren't working. Okay, let's bring it on. But yeah,
I'll
Denver.
just be like in your corner. You have Sparky in your corner.
That's good. I need my peeps, it's
Yes,
like,
we do. We
but
do.
and there's Mario who just made it in there. I want to just get he's behind the scenes, and again I want to like thank all of you guys for supporting me and supporting the show, and all the Patreons that I have that are helping cover costs. It's really amazing, and you can go to ufoclassified.com to become a Patreon. I appreciate that a lot, especially right now. The with COVID, the Pilates studios kind of taking a little, it took a hit, and unfortunately we couldn't get funding for small businesses where a lot of bigger businesses got funding, but whatever. So we're hanging on, but I appreciate all of your support. And you mentioned, earlier in the show, you mentioned Jack Brewer, and I just have to give him a ton of props. I really appreciate the work that he's done, and he's amazing. And I think that a lot of people, I mean, it's just amazing to see the way people, well, I mean, and he doesn't care because he is totally on
He
it.
does not care at all what
No.
the other people think of him.
No. And I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I do too. It's like, that's so cool. And even like the amount of crap that John Greenwald gets, I just think, come on. I mean, he's really tries hard, and I think people need to chill out. But again, it's like it's the same group of like noisy people.
Crowd.
Yeah, and it's probably they've got sock puppet accounts, and they're doing who knows what. But it is interesting. There's so many, I don't know, really cool people out there. And Angels Are Live. Thanks for your great comments. It's so much fun. I love being on stage. I was for 25 years a professional vocalist, and so I
oh wow, that's so cool.
It was really cool. Like you with your music background, I mean, I started studying classical music, classical voice at the age of 16 at the University of Utah. And so I studied classical voice for many, many years. And then I started doing the band thing when I was 18 and was in lots of different bands. And I actually sang twice at the 2002 Winter Olympics, which was
what? Now I'm gonna go Google it. You gotta
no. I loved it. We did some great work, and I have to just say on that note, one of my bandmates and very dear friend passed away a few days ago, and that really was just, I know it was, it's we get to that time in our life and things like that happen. But I just want to say, Kevin, wherever you are, I love you, and I will miss you, and he was a great joy in the music scene for me. Lots of wonderful memories. And then so I just want to say, Anonymous Rex, collaboration is totally key. I absolutely agree with that. Like I said, there's so many amazing people that I've met in this subject. And it's like you guys can learn from what I've been through. I can learn from what you're doing with the aviation and things. There's so many ways that we can empower ourselves and really do great things. And like you said, and I love it because, I get discouraged sometime, but you said we can make a difference and we can change the subject.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the subject needs fresh people in there and fresh opinions and challenge some of the stuff that's been going on, I think the best is yet to come for the subject. I do. It may not seem like that if you only look at Twitter. It doesn't seem like that. But if you look at the overall picture, I do think the best is yet to come for, really figuring out what might be going on, what the answers, plural, are,
Well, and that like you said, there are some really exciting things that are taking place, and it should be empowering. So, and thank you, Angels for Life. Yeah, Kevin was a very dear, kind soul, and I hope he's, in a peaceful place, I mean, I just think, we can make a difference. Thank you for pumping me up, because I tell you, 2 days ago after my little Twitter, or yesterday, it's just blurs. I was just like, I am so done with this, subject. But
I didn't see it, but it's like I completely could see what you mean. I've seen any number of spats on Twitter, and it's not pretty, and it's discouraging for people, I think. And it's like, you know what? Just shake it off. What is it in Frozen? Let it go.
Oh man, maybe I know what I'm going to be singing when I
sing it loud when you're done.
Well, I was like, what was that? Shake it off. Who like sings that song? Shake it off. Oh my gosh, haters gonna hate.
That's right.
Don't make me bust out in song because I could, and then I'd scare you because I've been practicing. But
I can't wait to hear you sing if you want to fly with me, you're gonna sing to me at some point.
All right.
That's your payment.
No, I love it. It's like funny because I did it for so long, and I mean, it's like just the gigs that we did. I opened for Kevin Bacon. Yo, I mean,
What?
I
That's amazing.
know. It doesn't
That's
get much better
incredible.
than that.
No, that's
It
really.
does. No, it does
Jeez.
get a lot better than that.
Wow.
It's kind of a little
That's
schmo.
amazing, Erica. You're a
Yeah,
woman of many talents.
it was. I had so much fun. I remember. I don't know why I'm even sharing this information with you guys, but I look back on things and go, I did really. What did I do? But I was like 6 months pregnant, and for some, and I was, Pilates instructor. I was super like fit and things, and I decided. I don't know why I decided this, but I was going to wear a little top and a sarong.
Nice.
Oh my God.
That's great.
And I mean, now that I even like say that out loud, I'm like, oh my God, just to look at the people's faces in the audience. My
That's so
God,
cool.
it's like,
I bet you rocked it though.
you know what? I was like totally freaking like just on it. I mean, I'm just like, whatever. Check out my pregnant belly, yeah, baby.
Love it.
Oh my
Yes.
Lord. And like honestly, like I said, it was just just like, oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, like the look on people's faces, was like this kind of like wonderment and like, oh my God, what is she doing? And it's like, oh, I mean, and like, yeah, I mean,
So
anyway,
I have a question for you, and then I'll probably have to go in
yeah,
about
yeah,
10
yeah.
minutes or so. So what is next for you in researching this phenomenon? Like what is on your mind? What goals do you have coming up that you want to do? Like we talked about putting a conference together maybe at some point someday. But where are you heading in all this? I'm super curious to know.
That's a great question, and I will consult tarot cards tonight and figure it out. No, I love like right now I'm again and always really digging into the background and motivations of specific people. And I'm trying to, I want to make a difference and try to help people see that even though somebody seems really nice or a group of people seem really nice, there sometimes are motivations behind the scenes. So I want to educate people on that. And then I also with the archiving it's just I love doing that, and I want to share some of the really cool old historical cases that I have in my files, and a lot of stuff because Anne Druffel, who I have volumes obviously of her work, but she had some interesting cases, in California, and so I want to share those with people, and then I want to get out and do field research again. Because
Yeah.
I really miss that. It's so much fun to travel to some of these locations and I don't know. I want to have fun. I want to live life. I want to
Yes.
not get caught up in some of this stuff. But I also want people to understand that there are pitfalls in the
Yeah.
subject. And thank you, Goth White. But and I am doing a book on Simon. That's coming. That's coming. But I mean, Sparky Lady, you make me so happy. Like I'm super stoked that you have been here tonight and you're coming back.
I'm really happy to have had the chance, and it's a new thing for me. I love doing new things, so I appreciate the chance to experience this.
Yeah, no, you are so. I mean, like honestly, this has been such a breath of fresh air, and I
Oh,
really,
good. Well, I'm
yeah,
happy. These things happen for a reason. You probably needed to just. I'm
yeah.
pretty low key, so you probably just needed to talk to someone that's not angsty and uptight.
Well, I mean, gosh, I'm glad to know that. Yeah, there are people like you in the world because I'm telling you, it's a never a dull
We do
moment.
exist.
Yes, I love you, and I'm just going to say
Me
thank you
too.
for being here. You are my new favorite, so thank you. But
Anytime. I'll talk
yeah,
to you anytime you want.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful evening and take care, and we will chat soon. Prepare
Yep,
yourself.
we'll chat soon.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you.
Erica.
Bye,
Thanks,
you guys.
everybody. Bye.
Absolutely. Bye. And I just posted the link in chat. And so if any of you guys want to get in there, and I'm sorry that Chris wasn't here tonight, but we'll get him back. We just crossing our wires since I canceled the show on Friday. But if any of you guys want to get in here and give me your comments and things, that would be really, really awesome. So what do you think? And Oh dear, I don't know what I'm doing here. Of course, technical difficulties. It's never a dull moment in my world, as Mario knows. And as you guys know, because you saw that little power glitch again, the power went out. And so hopefully there isn't some sort of something going on nearby. But Goth White, thanks for your comments and stuff. And so yeah, get in there, you guys. And thanks, Sparky Lady. You totally rock. If anybody wants to call in, get on the internet. That would be awesome. Get on the internet. That's so dumb. You guys are already on the internet. Okay, Mama needs some sleep. But so, all right, you guys. So we've got like 20 minutes left. So get in there and just call up and let's hear your UFO stories, or why you love this field or why you hate it, and how we can make a change in the subject, because that would be really, really awesome. And if not, then I guess I don't know. I guess I'm going to talk. Let's see. What have I been doing this week? So this week, I have been working behind the scenes with somebody doing some interesting requests. And I have a feeling that this is going to be a great addition in my Skinwalker Ranch book and the chapter. We can write many chapters on some of this. But as you guys know, I went to the conference, and I'm just 3 weeks ago. And like I said, I met some really, really, really lovely people there. And I've got to just show you. I showed this a while ago, but this is my shameless selfie there. Oh yeah. And I was at the UFO campground. And if you guys ever make it to Utah, you have to go see Jody and Stacy, because they have such a lovely, lovely place. And this is the sky. And this is, right down here is the Skinwalker Ranch. But it was just absolutely gorgeous. And you could never see a sunset like that in the world. It's really stunning. It's a beautiful landscape. And then again, just because nobody is calling in, I've got to just say this was the conference there. And so you can see people. You can see people. Oh my God, this is really awkward. You can see people. Did you know that you can actually see people? This is why I'm a UFO investigator. Just kidding. Okay. And then there's Avi Loeb and Travis Taylor, and and so it was fun. It was really fun. So anyway, yeah, Goth White, I know you can't find your sunglasses. That's not good. And Anonymous Rex, I wish you were near your computer. That would be fun to have you drop in, but we will have to get you guys next time. And so I don't know, guys. Ask me some questions in chat, because now you guys get to interview me, which could be completely frightening for you. I don't know. Maybe. And happy Father's Day again, you guys. So, okay, you guys Anonymous Rex, you have a crazy video that I need to see. Mind-blowing. Interference on the ranch. Okay. Oh, from the ranch. Okay. Yeah. Well, Anonymous, we're going to talk. Okay, so where do I like to go look at the sky? And Steve's Aquatics, I haven't seen you forever. That is so cool. And I have not seen this week's episode. I have to monitor my blood pressure. But that would be interesting I'll have to watch it and then weigh in on it. I'm sure it was a bunch of dudes launching rockets. Was there something I missed? Probably not. Okay. Yeah, good. And so, Simon, you were so naughty. I just don't even know if I could go into that story. It's what a puppet show is for. I could do a little puppet of him. That could be fun. And so my favorite place to go look at the sky, I love, really honestly, up by the ranch, there is a beautiful place called McCoy Flats. And to go up there, and not only is the scenery just absolutely stunning, I mean, with the red rocks and everything, but to look at the night sky, especially when they're shooting stars and things, it's just like, and I just sit there on my back and just look up forever, and you can hear all the wildlife around you and things. It really is stunning. And even like, I love, because Utah is like the coolest, how we have some beautiful scenery, but I love going down like to the Santa Fe Swell. and I have not done that for a long time. I need to grab my camping gear and just go out there, because that's, you could just get lost out there. But the scenery, it's like being on a different planet, and you just look up at the night sky and just you just think of all the possibilities and take in nature. It's really cool. And yes, puppets, I've been telling you guys this, a puppet show, and have my little, people. I've got ideas, and I've been working with my friend on ideas, and I need to just get the puppets made. But actually, when I try to make the puppets, they don't even really resemble anything normal. I mean, they're just actually quite disturbing. So we're working on the puppets. But you know how that goes. So we will get that. And yes, yeah, I did hear that Chris Bartell was up there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'll watch the show. And have I ever seen anything in the basin? I have seen. I did have an interesting experience that involved the ranch. I was up interviewing Junior Hicks, and Junior Hicks was just such a lovely human being, as you've heard me talk about on my show. Junior Hicks, if you don't know, if you've never heard about him, he was a school teacher up in Roosevelt, Utah, and was an electrician, and was really a well-known and loved member of the community. And back decades ago, he started researching the subject because he had a friend that saw a UFO, and he wanted to know more about that. And soon he became, the go-to person. If you had a strange sighting in the Uinta Basin, you would call Junior Hicks, because, he would listen to people and take everything, write everything down. And he was really a source that people in the police department, the sheriff's department, would send, people cases, send him cases, and things. And he was just such a cool and lovely, lovely person. So I was up there interviewing him, and this is like just crazy. I was staying at Winterton Suites. The things I did in my youth, my ignorance. But I I was there, and it was really interesting because oh my gosh. So we got back to the motel, and it was actually really a nice place. It was, and I don't think it's still there anymore, but it was really nice. But we were there, and there was a storm coming in, and I opened the motel room door, and it was kind of dusk, and a dust devil went right by the motel room door. And I'm just like, this should have been a sign. Just stay in your room, sister. Don't go anywhere. But nope. We went out there, and it was like we had a specific point to view things that were taking place. And it was really like, it's just like when you're out there, like I said, you can't describe the landscape. It's just so beautiful, and it's surreal. And then you have this kind of thought in your head. It's like, okay, this is, you've been primed. I was primed. We've all been primed to maybe see, oh my gosh, just some of the things, shape-shifting werewolves, and bad things happen, and they follow you home, and blah, 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 all this stuff. So you get that in your mind. But we were out there, and there was a thunderstorm, a lightning storm going across the mesa, and that was spectacular. And we set up the cameras, and it was interesting. And looking back on it, I'm sure it can all be explained, but just work with me here. I'll just tell you this. So I look at kind of where the old homestead is, and there seemed to be a light kind of shining up, and then it appeared like the light kind of moved across the mesa and then moved across the field. And I was taking photos and video of that, which was really fascinating. But then it appeared to me that there was kind of an amber orange light hovering above the mesa, and that there was something down in front of the mesa that was connecting. It was a very strange thing. I don't know what it was. Maybe there was some ball lightning. I have no idea. Maybe they were out there putzing around and doing stuff for the show. I don't know, but it was quite interesting. And so that was my experience. So I don't know what that was, but So who knows? But anyway, do I have any information about Southwestern stories of shapeshifters? I did. I will just share a little story that I heard from somebody that was in New Mexico. And when I was speaking at a conference, I went down there and spoke at a conference that Dave Marler had organized, and that was really a ton of fun. But I was behind the stage, or behind the scenes, and I was there with Stan Friedman. That was really fun too, and John Greenwald. It was a great conference. But this woman was telling me that she was a nurse and she was working in a hospital, and they got a call, and there were people on the reservation, and a man, something had been hit by a truck, and they didn't want to really respond to the call. And so I guess allegedly somebody finally brought this thing into the emergency room, and she said that it looked like something that was transitioning from a being into a human. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, that was her story. It was really, I mean, it was interesting, and she was very genuine about what she, felt was happening, and that was a skinwalker to her. And I had actually, back in the day a few years ago, I was really digging into getting skinwalker stories and different things because I find that absolutely fascinating. And I did have a friend at the University of Utah who was one of the world's foremost Native American historians. He's since passed, but he did that for decades. And I got to speak with him, and he went through his special archive of books on Native Americans, and he went through to all of the different tribes and collected their oral histories and wrote them down. So it was very interesting man. But he gave me some of his books that talked about the Skinwalker lore, and that was really fascinating. He couldn't really find a lot, but what he did, it was just very curious, and yeah, it was really, really, really fun. I need to get back into that more. And can you listen to me just blabbing away? I don't even know. But anyway, thanks for asking questions, and I can do a shadow puppetry for pretty much nothing. Just that would be really great. And I don't know I don't know what that was, but also I had a friend who was he's just a lovely person. And sometimes you guys will see Tracy in chat, and this was her husband, Fred, who they're from here, and they're really lovely, lovely, lovely. I love those guys. They're awesome. But Fred was serving a Mormon mission, and I believe he was down in Texas. And he had the person that was the mission president came to them when they first got there. He and his mission partner, and he said, don't, whatever you do, don't go outside at night because they're skinwalkers. And he was very serious and very concerned, and just don't go there. And I think with the first night they were there, if I'm not mistaken, one of the first nights that they were there, they heard something kind of moving outside the door, and then they heard a pounding at the door and some very unusual noises, and they were pretty freaked out, as you can imagine, after being told that there was a skinwalker outside. Amy, you made it. Nice to see you, my dear. But they were so frightened that they both got down and prayed, and eventually this left. And I also have another friend. I'm just like, now thanks for asking me about skinwalkers, because I have so many interesting stories about that. But I have another friend, and I wish I could get him on the show. But he is Navajo, and he has shared some of his experiences that really truly frightened him. So it's very, very interesting. I'll have to do that. I'll do a little show and bring on people that have had some stories. And so, and is Logan Hayes, is she saying it's a hybrid that brought into the hospital? I I don't know. I think it was she thought it was a shapeshifter. I don't know. I mean, I will tell you that I'm just relaying a story, again, none of these, they're stories, but she was very, very convinced that's what she was viewing. And so it's just fascinating. So I don't know, you guys, but I love it. And I just need to go back here. Question: has Androffel's script for Firestorm movie been submitted to any studios? And I do not know. Um, I know that Alice Druffel, the daughter of Anne Druffel, was talking about doing that, and she's been so busy. She's an environmental activist in California and has done so much there that I'm not sure if she's had time to do that. But that would be really fascinating. And I can't, Firestorm, for those of you who don't know, was a book, and I've got it somewhere back there. I don't know. But it was a book about the life of Dr. James McDonald. It was such an important figure back in the 60s on the UFO topic, and really how wonderful and refreshing would it be to have somebody like that here briefing Congress and things. That would be amazing. But I will ask her and find out. And so, and I love your comment. Around here, when you hear knocking and scratching on the door, it's usually missionaries. Yes, that is true, because we are in Utah and things. But yeah, just really interesting. And I love you guys. Thank you for always rolling with me. It's never a dull moment in the world of Erica Lukes and UFO Classified and the show and the mute button and the power going out and fires on the building roof and different things. It's like, oh my Lord, it's never a dull moment. But I appreciate all of you, and Amy, I appreciate you too. And thanks, Anonymous Rex for the super sticker and things. And so, you guys are awesome. And like I said, I really, I appreciate your love and patience with me over the past couple of years. As you know, it's been a very difficult journey for me to make it through, and I couldn't have done it without your love and support. And I know that Ray Boucher was in chat earlier. I'm not sure if he is still listening, but he is just, I love Ray. He's been on the show, such a cool guy. I need to get him back. And my thoughts and love are always with him and his road to recovery. And then, you've got Bruce Whitteman, who I just want to give a little shout out to, who has just been such a love in my life, and a very wonderful person. But he's unfortunately battling cancer and is not winning that battle. And so my heart and thoughts and prayers and love go out to Bruce and to his family and his friends. I know that this is it's always a hard time in your life when you lose somebody that you love. And so I just, on that note, it's like, you guys are awesome. And even though I haven't met most of you, I feel like we're all friends, and I feel like you're such a wonderful support system. And I don't know. I love you guys. Thank you. That was I love you guys. Thank you. You guys rock. And so anyway, thanks for, and hey, Philip, how are you? And shadows are friendly this time. I hope they are. That would be nice. Missionary cats. I don't know. But Simon, thanks. Great show. Great guest. I love the show. I love my guest. And Sparky Lady totally rocked it out tonight. So anyway, thank you very much. Next Friday, Steve Pierce is coming on the show. And this is, of course, this is going to be kind of a hanging on every word. This will be very, very interesting. So Steve was with Travis Walton, and I will also reach out to Travis and see if he has any comments and things about that. As I tried to last time, that was a very interesting experience. But we will just see how next Friday goes. So pray for me, people. Hopefully the power, keep your fingers crossed, the power will be on. The men in black won't be sitting across the street aiming, little weapons at me. I'm totally kidding about that. But, who knows? Whatever. So anyway, thanks, you guys. I love you very much. And you guys have a wonderful rest of your Father's Day. Thank you for everything. And see, I could just keep talking. I don't even know when the show's over. But you guys, love you. And I'll see you guys next week. Ciao.